Hello, all you hardcores. You know who it is. We're joined by Max the Breadcrumb. What's happening, Max?
Well, good yourself. Bit of hectic day, but apart from that, all good yourself.
All right, how's your training going?
Yes, it's going. Yeah, it's full steam ahead.
How many miles you doing in the morning?
Only a couple. And I'm just as the weight comes down, I start increasing it.
Only a couple of mile. That means 200 yard then, Max, doesn't it?
Cheers, mate. Nah, a couple of mile.
Right. Let me think. Fury and Usyk, Max. What's going on? What's your take on it? I'm gonna ask your opinion on these questions. I'm not gonna give mine. Let's have yours, Max. Go on. I'll try and guide you. Go on.
Guide me. Um, Use it clearly wants it. I think it just comes down to money. Who would get more money, isn't it? Who's going to get more out of it? I think it should just be a straight 50-50 split, but that doesn't happen with Fury. Who's the A side? Who's the B side? I think they're both the A side. It's a Spencer Crawford jobby, isn't it?
2 seconds. Rocky. Oh, you sat on my Rizzlers. Oh, yeah. Listen. Look, Fury, right? he's a manipulator, and there'll be something up his sleeve. He'll be giving them all run around, won't he? So you don't. Oh, there's bumps and troughs to go with this, isn't there? There's some more stories to come with it, isn't there? Really, over the next few weeks.
But there's the thing, Russ. Though they're just a manipulating sort of group, aren't they? I mean, not taking it. They love being in the media. You don't know what's true, what's not true.
Who do we believe, Max?
Well, I rather believe Usyk. He hasn't got any history of lying, is he? So
Yeah. I mean, who's at fault here, Max, for all this? Who do you think?
well, it's going to be Fury because if it's greedy, I'm not so sure over this when he wanted a Joshua fight. What was said? I mean, I think it's a bit of both halves. I think where it is the sticking point is Fury actually would love it in this country, the fight. I think he deep down, he can say Saudi Arabia what he wants, but I think he'd want it here because it's a landslide of him with the support. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, him having it on neutral territory, it's favourable for Usyk, isn't it? So I think that's one of it. And the other thing is money. Who's the A side? Who would you say is the A side, Russ?
Well, there's 6 belts online. Usyk's got 5, Fury's got 1.
Exactly. So
Usyk's undefeated, Fury is. They're both decorated fighters, aren't they? One's an ABA champion, one's Olympic gold, in he, and whatnot. It's an hard fight for both of them. I'd tend to side with what Usyk says myself. I
exactly.
think he's got a bit more about him, a bit more honour, hasn't he? You know what I mean? Kind of. He's fought everybody away from old money. Come on.
Exactly. So why should he? Let's have it. Let him have some things his way. You know what I'm saying, for God's sakes. But that's un- unfortunately, I think Fury thinks he's entitled.
Do you think
Um,
Fury's got out of control now?
I wouldn't say out of control. I just think he's trying to go on, in the Del Boy fight or any other fight, he's trying to dictate the terms. Unfortunately, in this situation, you can't. It's got to be a 50-50 split, surely.
Well, Usyk, like I just said there, Usyk's got WBA, WBO, IBF, IBO, and Ring Magazine. He's only missing WBC that Fury's got. The whole world wants the fight. If
Exactly.
Fury doesn't take the fight, what's going to happen? They didn't have the Joshua fight. Who's the blame going to lay at now? They're going to make Eddie Hills, the 6-0 Iceman, look amazing now, aren't they? Everything that they've been saying.
Yeah, we need this fight to save boxing because it's in a mess. Let's be honest.
We need this, Max. Or you versus the Promise, Perry Howe.
Look, we need this fight. I want this unification fight. I'm sick of people banging on how good Fury is, which he is great. But let's see him how great he is against someone like Usyk. Because I'll tell you now, you can't tie him up like you do with his other opponents. Not a chance.
Does Fury need a few more wins on his CV to be known as an all-time great?
I think if he beats Usyk, he
Yeah.
beats sort of like Joe Joyce, but he sort of avoids it. He always like when you ask him the question directly, he comes out of two answers. He says, "Well, he's not really from my era." He says stuff like that. Like let's see him fight people at the top of the tree a little bit. Then he can say because they all
Shouldn't
did
be
back in
about
the day.
eras, should it? She fought Vladimir and he wasn't from his era.
Exactly, that's what I mean. So there's always, different. You know what I
Usyk's the
mean?
same age as him, isn't he?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So
I don't get
yeah,
that. I don't get that at all. But what I do get is Usyk's fought everybody, hasn't he? And that's what you could say Fury has. Everybody they've fought, they've beat, haven't they? So we've got to
yeah,
give them credit for that. Could it be gamesmanship? I don't know. It's easy for Tyson to say he wants to avoid a little rabbit, but that rabbit's 6'3", same height as Dylan White, and he's 16 stone
and a lot fitter.
and quicker than him and a southpaw. Although let's not get carried away with this southpaw thing because everybody seems to have southpaws down as amazing fighters. They're just a left-handed fighter, and the only
Yeah,
difference is there's not many about to spar, is there? That's why
no,
southpaws have a little bit of an edge in it, but
exactly.
it don't mean anything at the end of the day because I've seen journeymen that are southpaws and they couldn't knock an hen over. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? But Usyk, he's the real deal, and it's a proper fight. That's a proper fight. It's massive, isn't it? Now that fight.
I think it's a 50-50 fight. That's it. Um, people have to reckon. People say all these people with like follow the Furies and that. People and people keep going on about the size. The size does not matter. It's not going to play how Usyk fights. It's not going to have a sort of effects because when you've got someone with 300 odd amateur fights behind you and losing only 11, that's some record that for us.
Did he beat
So
about 8 of them, like, or he'd beat 8 of them again? So there only 3 of them have got away from him, weren't there? Something.
yeah, something like that. Yeah, so that's an incredible record to Fury's 50 or 60 or whatever.
He's
You
seen
know,
every style, hasn't he, Usyk? Can he? I mean, Elenius was coming out saying that tall guys are food and drink to Usyk.
so I mean, you see what Johnny Nelson saw when before he went even to Olympics with the
When he
USEX.
sparred Vladimir,
Yeah,
and he
so
sat
that
about him, they were all mesmerised, weren't they? And they were like, "Who's that?" And it's Alexander Usyk. He's going to Olympic, and he sat about Vladimir, didn't he? As Terry says, put hands on him.
yeah, that's what I mean. So it just says it all. And that's before we even really knew about him properly. So it just says what's in his repertoire, what's potentially there. Because I believe we haven't seen
The best of him.
best. No, I don't think we have.
I don't
We've
think
seen
we've seen him tested yet. You know when he's been dropped and and nobody's got near him, have they? Really? I mean, Joshua nearly wobbled him. He had it under control, didn't he?
Well, let's be honest. When he went in the second fight against Joshua, it was 4 weeks after a fractured rib. So what does that tell you?
He showed about 5 different styles against Joshua. And he showed some stuff I've never seen him do before. So he had to dig deep, didn't he? I suppose at some points in fight. Do you know what I mean? He had to change it up a bit. And I think Joshua were mesmerised by him, to be honest. He didn't know what to do. That's my
It's quite,
opinion.
it's quite, it's quite clever, Usyk. And if you look at like the Beta Beef against Yard, they sort of round by round outwork their opponent. It's not so
Yeah.
much trying to knock them out; it's they do more than their opponent. So if they've put 3 or 4, let's say, clusters on you, of combinations on you, they do twice as many back to
Yeah.
satisfy and win that round. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And especially with Usyk, I don't know if it's ingrained into him. He sort of has a slight rest mid, always mid round. Like when it goes to like the 2 minute mark or 2.5 minutes mark, then the last 45 seconds he works real hard. So the judges sort of remember it. You get what I'm saying? So he's quite clever.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's very clever, mate. He's very clever.
Yeah.
Uh, if Tyson Fury doesn't fight Usyk, who does he fight? Maxi.
like, he's talking about France and Hungary. I don't really want to see that. Um, he's going to try Wilder for a fourth over in this country or something like that, isn't he?
You what, mate?
He's going to try a Wilder fight over this country, isn't
What,
he?
a fourth Wilder fight?
Yeah. Yeah, let's be honest
Who
about it.
want
I
to see
mean,
that? Who want to see that though?
it would sell. It would sell out the O2. It would sell. I mean, look, let's be honest. If can sell out Wembley Del Boy, Wilder fight's surely a better fight. And
Why would he
Wilder,
risk? Why would he risk going in there with a killer who might change it up a bit and find a way? He's already been in with him 3 times. They know each other like back of their hands.
it's a dangerous fight, you know. It's yeah, but you telling me what would you want to see? Maybe a Joe Joyce then, if
Look, Joe
anything.
Joyce and Tyson Fury is food and drink to Tyson. I've seen them spar when Tyson were fat as a pig,
Yeah,
and
there
he
we go.
just stood in middle of the ring. He had no legs. He slipped and slided, and Joe Joyce never laid a glove on him, mate. So what would Tyson do to Joe Joyce 9 stone lighter?
So I mean, so yeah,
Play
there's no
with him, mate. You play. Look, I agree with his dad, Big John Fury, the man who's got a cure for cancer. Have you seen that? He's got a cure for cancer now. But no, I agree with John Fury. Tyson would play with him. Only person who beats Tyson's himself. But the Usyk fight, it's a pick 'em fight, isn't it? It's a pick 'em fight, that, and that's what we want, isn't it? God, can you imagine that fight? You'd pay 40 quid for it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would. I would pay all day long for it. Yeah,
That
yeah,
is and they get the money that way. They just have to overcharge, put it on at Wembley, and just overcharge us. Just give
yeah,
us
yeah.
it.
Everyone would go. Everyone would buy into it.
Of course they would. Yeah, they just go around their houses and group together. Look, if that's what's got to be done for fights like this, I'm all for it. And I hate pay-per-view, but they can't tease us with this undisputed, all spewing it. They've all, a lot of them has been spewing it, haven't they, for months and months. From when,
Yeah.
who is it, Joshua's had belts to rest of them. All the lot of them have been spewing undisputed. Now they're all looking to put obstacles in front.
Yeah, not good, is it?
Not good at all, mate. It's not good at all. It isn't, mate. It's not a good fuck game. If you don't fight Wilder, I don't think you'll fight him. If you don't fight him, cross him off. Joyce, that's food and drink for him. So if there's no Joyce and no Usyk, who is there?
Shallow. It's a shallow pool.
Joshua, they're going to fight him. He's got Franklin.
Thing is, you never know. If Franklin beats Joshua, you never know. Franklin next. Let's be honest.
Who you been sparring anyway, Max?
It's an amateur kid my way. I'm soon going to be sparring in a week or so's time. Matt Legg and a lad called Paul Butland, both being with Joshua.
Matt Legg's older than me, Max.
No, he's not.
How old is he?
He's late 40s. He's looking to get in the bare knuckle game, getting fit. So yeah, sparring him, Paul. That's in the next week or so before I go away to Malta. So yeah, so
Been in with Joshua, Matt Legg.
Say again, sorry.
Been in with Joshua,
Yeah, Matt Legg. Well, both of them have, haven't they? Paul Butland, both of them have. So
he's got big gonads, Matt Legg, but Matt,
yeah, he laid it on him. I watched the fight, didn't he? He laid it on him.
You might pick some bits and bobs popping Max.
So I mean, but the thing is, he's conditioned hard for sparring, Matt Legg. So that was a good one. So he offered it, so I took it. So that's the first one. So I'm going to do a bit on the road. I will be sparring a lad called Gary Sweeney. He's another heavyweight, good heavyweight. And obviously Jamie Cox, I know he's a middleweight, but he says he's going to do a bit with me at that same time. So that's the week after I'll come back. So they're my first 2 spars, basically major spars. So yeah.
Yeah. Max. Boxers dress sense. Whose boxers dress sense do you admire? Or people around boxing, would you admire for the dress sense, Max?
What a random question that is, Russ.
Well, you must have a few people, Max, because some outfits I've seen you in. Did you have cords on at that Nottingham show?
Oh, piss off.
You had brown leather. brown leather slip-on shoes, didn't you?
No, I just had normal, brown slip-on shoe. Yeah, what's wrong with them?
I don't think they went well with them blue cords, Max.
Look, Russ, right? The day you sort your style out is the day you actually give me advice. But until then, I've seen some of the stuff you wear. Shell suits like Jimmy Savile.
Fuck off, Max. What about Steppy and his snide stoners from Denby Market? Go on, Steppy. I've got every colour, you know. You will have it 25 quid a pop.
Oh, Steffi.
What about Peter McDonough at Peter Fury's 50th birthday? Dennis goes, look who's over there, Porky. I goes, so Peter McDonough walked in a green leprechaun suit, right? There stood Miss Savannah who had 6-inch heels on.
Gosh, a bit of a height difference there then. Gosh, she's tall as it is. Jeez.
Dennis there with his trilby on.
Mm.
All right, sort of undesirables. Me there in me shell suit.
Wow.
No, I didn't
Whatever
have a
floats your boat. Well,
I didn't have a shell suit, Max, and I ain't got a shell suit, so take that back.
Well, it is what it is.
It's a cagoule, Max. It's a cagoule.
Oh, is it?
Right, Maxi boy. I don't wear vests at events as well. Armani vests like Scott Brunt strutting around it best. Painful to see Eddie on IFL Max yesterday, saying Joshua's fighting for legacy, especially after Joshua came out last week. He said he's fighting for, at the beginning of that week, saying he's fighting for money. It was painful to see Eddie like that. Do you know what I mean? Still trying to paper Robert cracks and white Joshua's arse, isn't he?
Well, it doesn't do it. Eddie hasn't done himself any favors, has he? Really? I mean, let's be honest. Out of the promoters, the three at the top, he's bottom of the tree, isn't he? A little bit with them, with Ben Shalom and Frank. He's below them two at the minute, so he's got to do something. And when he's doing that, I mean, let's be honest, Joshua. Is it there though? Is the hunger there? It looks like he can't be bothered, Russ, to be honest with you. Like, when you've got so many millions in the bank, what is there to fight for?
Do you think it was in bad taste, Joshua saying it was about money?
Yeah. Well, we've seen, look, like you say, the mask has slipped, isn't it? We've seen this Mr. Humble. That Mr. Humble is been and gone. Dillian White said it years ago. Right, he says you've been faking this act. He said it about 3 or 4 years ago. You're trying to fake this act with Mr. Humble and all this stuff, and he got it straight on right, Dillian. And it slipped against after the Usyk fight, carrying on like he did, and he's not what he seems to be. They've tried to plaster him as a sort of a brand, but the brand is sort of not as desirable as it once was, is it? Let's be honest. And when he's trying to market something, let's say DAZN, obviously the DAZN has changed their prices due to him. Let's be honest. He's got to sell let's say a product that is potentially, not working properly. It's like these prime drinks going off the shelves, but suddenly there's been a callback of, wrong of decent wrong ingredients in there, and there's been a callback of them, and he's got to rebrand it, repackage it, and that's what they have to do with Joshua, repackage him. That's what they're trying to do.
Well, I'm glad anyway, because my Ruby's been mithering me every single day for about 2 weeks for them drinks, and some shops are charging extortionate prices, aren't they?
20 quid.
Yeah, exactly. You're paying 8 quid in that. I'm thinking it's a bottle of pop, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so what can you do? And they're that smart. You can't just go get a bottle and fill it up with Ribena or something and say, I've got you another one. Because they'll taste it and they go, no, that's not that. It's like when you get mash in it and you put a bit of eggs in it, makes it up. They sit there with arms folded, don't they? Do you know what I mean? But do you think Joshua's going in the right direction with Derek James?
Derek James, it's a tough one, isn't it, Russ? Isn't it with Derek James? You
Yeah,
know, what are these trainers going to do to him? I mean, what are they going to add to his game? You tell me. What is he going to add to his game? What do you think Derek James is going to add?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. We don't. We're going to see, aren't we? But he's trainer at year, isn't he?
Yeah, it's trainer of the year, but I'll go with someone a little bit more ruthless, personally. If I was going to get, if I look, you, Anthony Joshua, your money is unlimited. Your purse, you can get anyone in the right world, right? The best person I would go for is Eddie Reynoso, personally, because how they train their fighters out there. I mean, he's doing something right with Canelo. Then when Ryan Garcia had him, doing something right with it. So he's had world class people through his hands. I think what Joshua's problem is, and I've said this time and time again, it's his businesses on the side and all this like branding and doing this, doing that. Just go back to being a boxer. Either go back to your roots to Rob McCracken because it seemed to work with him. Go back to the loyalty route, or go somewhere where you're not going to get bothered. Like when you go out, like, let's say he's out in Finchley, he goes out the door.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be bothering him and wanting a selfie with him, don't they? When he goes out of Mexico City, after people ain't going to know or give a shit who he is, and I think that'd be tough to take. But I think that's what he needs. He needs that sort of change where he hasn't got any business. He hasn't got this 258 management. He's got someone to run that. He can just train for 12 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever the rate is, and just be a boxer. And all he needs to worry about is training. Fact. And with under Eddie Reynoso, that would give him especially when he moves straight away, different country. Lennox Lewis did that with I think did he lose to Rackman? Correct me wrong here. He lost to Rackman or something. He did a change up, went to the Cronk gym, Emmanuel Stewart, changed it up, went out there, and I'm saying, got it back. He did it. It worked for him. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Can I just give a big shout out to Andy, who does a Scottish geezer from Aberdeen. He's on a BBC debate programme tonight. He's been on my channel. You might have seen him last week or so. He does my thumbnails for me. He's all right, Andy. He's on there tonight. So by the time this goes out, you might or you might not have missed it. Just get it on BBC iPlayer. I don't know what he's going to do, but he's going to set about him apparently. Go on, Andy, stick it to BBC. We know what they are. But yeah, getting back to Joshua, he went around all them trainers and that, Max, didn't he? What do you think to that, Max?
I don't know. When he says go around trainers, do you think it was just a case of you do a session with them?
Pick the brains and that. Yeah, because Joshua strikes me as somebody who wants to educate his son. Because don't forget, he's like years behind others in his development, isn't he?
Yeah. But, okay, then in his development, who's he years behind of? Who would you say?
Fury.
Okay, that's one.
Fury and Usyk, they're only
That's
one,
two.
aren't they, that are ahead of him. Him and Wilder are about level, aren't they, for actual time in boxing, aren't they?
Yeah.
But they started at a similar age. But as regards Fury and Usyk, and they started a lot younger. And Usyk started younger than Tyson, didn't he?
There we go. So
do you know what I mean? This is why, I'm starting to shade towards this being a 50-50, whereas before I was 51-49. It's that sharp, isn't it, to call?
going back, Joshua and going around different trainers. Look, I'll tell you a little story. Dennis made me, when he was out in Jersey, made me work with a trainer. I said I would. A lad called Gary Simkis. Now, Gary Simkis, he was in Steve Collins's corner in camp for Nigel Benn and Steve Collins. Now, yeah, he showed me a couple of things, but it takes an art to like you deliver something. I don't know if you've seen it with Peter Fury, you would have seen it with plenty of training, you might have seen it with Robin Reed. It's an art from showing someone and delivering it to the person so they like understand, if that makes sense. Now, Julian, that's where
Yeah.
full praise. He can get anyone to understand what he's getting across within 2 or 3 minutes, just like that, with a split second. You think, oh yeah, I get that. Then he'll give you a breakdown why it's effective and when it's effective, and you understand it within 5 minutes. And it takes it's so many rarity of people can do that. I suppose Peter Fury can do it, and I would have thought Joe Gallagher can do it, but there's only so many can do that. You see, that's what Joshua needs, a sort of a teacher like to add to his repertoire slightly, because it's already been like we say this thing called gun shy, and we've been saying this word gun shy a lot, worried about being clipped, right? But going in gun shy and being safe does happen. You get what I'm saying? Finish like he finished opponents off really well. The finishing is not there. Does that make sense? Like we saw that against Pulev. He sort of rocked him. Was it in the? I think it was the third round. Quote me if I'm wrong, Russ. The third or fourth round, and he took a round off, sort of to lay beyond the shab. Then he rocked him. Then got him out of there. Does that make sense? And he's an old man. The old Joshua would have seen it, sniffed blood, and done him. And
You
this
reckon?
is what's lacking. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and it's not just the gunshot. I think he needs maybe some sort of psychology sort of help with upstairs as well. I think there's a correlation between both. And if he can do that, and there's people out there, sports performance, it goes deeper. And I think you said it a couple of weeks ago. I don't know who you said it to. Might have been to Julian, or can't remember who you were speaking to, but if the person behind the wheel isn't driving the car very well, you're going to crash, and that's effectively what Joshua has. So Franklin, when he comes at him, Franklin has got good hands, quick hands. He's sort of like maybe like a lighter or a sort of version of Andy Ruiz in some form. When he gets up close, you're fucked. You know what I mean? So you messed up. So I can imagine breaking down that fight. He's going to play and fight on the outside like he did with Andy Ruiz in that second fight. Does that make sense?
What he'll do that
So,
with Franklin? Do you think?
yeah, I think he's going to fight on the outside. Let him take the centre of the ring because of his quick hands. And there'll be a game plan because he knows because he's going to try to revert back to his Olympic style. I think. Now, you know, that's the thing with Joshua. When that's all he knows, but Derek James has what got. If he's working with him solely, he's got what until April. Is it April the first to fight? So he's got a good couple of 6-7 weeks with him. You know what I mean? So what he can add to him, I do not know. But he needs some quick sparring, as in quick hand sparring with someone. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. It's only time will tell. I mean, I'd have confidence in this trainer situation personally, Russ, because you need to take Joshua's a problem. Joshua's a problem in this country. You need to take him well out of this country in a way. And I think they've sort of done that. Correct me if I'm wrong. So hopefully that's part of the problem.
Yeah. What do you think will happen with Bricktop then if this don't fight and Bob Arum? Because there's a rumor doing rounds that there's problems with Usyk fight because the Saudis want the rights. Do you know what I mean?
Well, if the Saudis want the rights, if they're going to pay the best money, what's the harm? Because ultimately, everyone's get paid. What I don't like. I mean, this is not really to Tyson Fury and Usyk, but what I didn't like, and it leaves a bad taste in my mouth, when that fight went to Saudi Arabia for Joshua and Ruiz, and it was a big, big fight. I don't know how much it was. I remember Tom Little being a part of the camp, etc. He only got like 40 or 50K. You should be getting in triple figures. You know what I'm saying? If you're getting big money like that and you're Usyk and Fury, I hope it trickles down to the people below. That's all
Yeah,
I'm
it's
asking.
not doing because Fury. Sorry, Anthony Joshua, aka Big Meech, did he get 72 million?
Yeah, yeah, something
And
like
and,
that.
and Tom Little got price of a brand new Mondeo.
It was crazy. It's harsh, isn't it? And
Yeah, of
he was
course
part of
it's
all that
harsh, mate.
camp,
Very harsh.
and that just shows how greedy he is. And when he's saying on the other hand, saying, "Oh, it's all about the money," I mean, come on, and you got enough. I mean, of course, if you can't live on 72 million, there's something wrong with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you mean, mate. I see what you mean, Maxi. Big Top did shout off though that it was definitely done for last Saturday in April, didn't he?
Well, I don't believe it until I see a press conference with all the banners and everything and Fury Music on there. I don't
Usyk's
believe
team are pretty clued up. They've been in this situation for many times now at the big fights. So if Usyk's at a presser, it's on. Until then, it's just pie in the sky, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's like the it's it's like the Fury's for you. It's like Fury and Jake Paul. I think it's going to revert. I think it's going to be a pull out the next couple of days. Might be a pull out this week between Jake Paul and Tommy Fury. I think Tommy Fury's going to pull out.
Big Top ain't bothered though because the bar's ready in it for Usyk. He has to fight him, doesn't he, if he wants to keep belts?
Yeah, well, I mean that's the thing, but that's again, if you're paying, this is the thing. If you're paying pay per view, you're paying. They're going to put an extreme price, like they're going to do like 32.45 or something stupid like that, right? I don't want to see Dubai. I want my money back if Dubai steps in. You know what I mean? I didn't sign up to that. You know,
What do you
so
mean for platform? You mean?
yeah, so I don't. You know what I mean? You can't charge that and have them step in. You know what I'm saying? You'll be pretty peed off if you're a fan going to, like, let's say it's at Wembley, right? And so and so pulls out. Like we thought Dillian White was going to pull out of the Wembley fight. They're going to put Chisora or whoever, Joe Parker maybe go in there. Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll be pretty peed off if you've paid all that money and you wanted to see Dillian White, but no, you get Joe Parker. You don't really want to see it, do you?
No, you don't, mate. You don't. Where do you see Dylan White in all this now? He looks like he's on the outside looking in, doesn't he? The lone wolf, aka the can man.
Like he's in the mix. He will be in the mix. So this is what's going to happen. Joshua, this is what they're praying for. Joshua is going to get a convincing win against Franklin. He's going to box on the outside. He's going to pepper him all night and keep him on, keep boxing outside, rely behind his jab. He's not going to get any scuffles. Scorecards are going to say, let's say it's going to be, eight rounds to 4 or 9 rounds to 3 or whatever. Then he's going to call Dillian White's name, and that's going to be the fight they want, where he ramps it up, and that's when he comes in the mix. So I can guarantee you, he will be side stage for that fight against Franklin.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because Eddie's always got a story. He's got to cook up. He's got to cook up something. Ready for the next one.
You think it's going to be WWE Max?
He's gonna Dillian White's gonna call out, or Joshua. He said, "Look, Joshua, call White's name. Say he's an idiot or something." And it's gonna say it, isn't he? So that's what's gonna happen, unless Franklin has any other ideas. But they know what Franklin's gonna bring. If you get too close to him, you're gonna get clipped. That's gonna be the motto with Joshua.
Would you spar Franklin, Max?
If I have the opportunity, yeah, why not? I'll have like a stab-proof vest and everything on, yeah. But yeah, no, why not? It's experience, isn't it?
Listen, Max, that's what it's about, mate. You'll get that experience in, lad.
That's all it is, yeah.
And don't let Dennis down.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
As he gives you a big warning about your fitness and that, Max.
Yeah, no, that's all. Getting on top of that. Yeah, I mean, just got to make sure. This is what Julian said to me a day. He says, you just need to get on the travel and spar at different places, and that's what I'm lacking. A bit of ring time, and once I've got a bit of ring time under my belt, I'll be fine. I mean that and fitness and making sure I can go not 4 rounds, 8 rounds. When you train for a 4 round fight, you got to make sure you get 8 rounds comfortably. You know what I mean? So that's where it's at the minute.
Yeah, Mark, you're doing well, mate. You want to turn on to part 2, lad?
Yeah, sure.
Well, then, mate.